Welcome once again back to the lab. It is your old Professor Pilk, and, well, I'm back as just basically hands in a shadow. And I do apologize, I don't have a better way to do this, but if you guys have been following along with this series, today is a really special day. Now, I guess I should do a little disclaimer here, but before I do that, let me just say if you guys have not subscribed, stay up to date with this project. This project has been a lot of fun, and I promise you, by the end of this, you will know how to bring every Pokemon from your old Gen 1 games all the way up to the Gen 9 with the proper tagging it and everything. All the metadata, will they be there? Everything. This is a project I've been working on. We'll get into the full disclosure portion here. This is a project I've been conceptualizing for a little over a year now. Ever since I got into Pokemon, I've been obsessed with the collection aspect, which is partially why I didn't want to get into Pokemon in the first place, because I knew this was going to happen. But I thought it'd be really fun to try to collect all the Pokemon that I've had over the years and try to bring them into the current realm. That's why I went out and bought this particular 2DS. Now, I have a 3DS of my own, but I'd never got Pokemon Bank. I really wasn't into Pokemon at the time. And so we never downloaded it. Now, I could hack it, but I'd rather not do that. Funny enough, full disclosure, I just bought this system over the weekend. It actually is hacked, and we'll talk more about that coming up here real soon. But if you guys watched my video on Gen 3, we are going to bring the Gen 3 Mon all the way into Scarlet and Violet here soon. But this is, let's call this like step 1.5, because when I initially bought this system, it came with a number of games, and along with it came this really awesome Easter egg, which I'll show you guys right now. Let me go over to my, actually, you know what? It's not on this system. We're going to use this system to get to it. We're going to go into Pokemon Platinum over here. So on this system, I have Pokemon Witht, and over here, and actually just recently purchased this, and if you know what Pokemon games are going for right now, ouch and a half. Full disclosure, just so you guys fully understand, I've owned this system for a number of years. This was, you know, I bought this when it first came out. Number one, I love the retro style on this. I've got the retro GBA as well, and I love them both. But since I needed something with Pokemon Bank and I didn't want to hack anything, I kind of went out there and started looking for some systems that had the Virtual Console versions of Pokemon Red and preferably Crystal. It just turned out this one had a couple other versions on there as well. But in essence, I was looking for something that I could use to transfer all those Pokemon. And along with it, the seller included a copy of Pokemon Platinum. And in this copy of Pokemon Platinum was included something really awesome. So let's go to someone's PC here, and we'll just go to Move Pokemon. And let's go to box 2 here, and you can immediately see pretty much right off the bat what this is. That is a Shiny Raikou, Shiny Entei, and Shiny Suicune. Now, while a lot of this series has been about hacking mons and creating mons and PK Hex and all that stuff, when I conceptualized this well over a year ago, I wanted to get the most legitimate shiny forms I could get my hands on. So when this system came up for sale, and this was that level of bonus, it became a little more imperative that I come into acquisition of this. But if you really pay attention, this was, all three of these are Mon, and I believe actually Jirachi too. These were all Mon that were acquired from GameStop events. So in the realm of things, these are Mon that people acquired, as you can see here, 14 years ago, almost to the day, and have been chilling in this box waiting for this exact moment. This is all metadata that is essentially going to tell future generations that all the Pokemon in this system are legitimate and from whatever time they are. And a decade and a half later, we are finally going to make sure that by the time Pokemon Bank closes, these are preserved for all time. I think these are super rare, super cool. We can create these with metadata, and I will kind of cover that in a later video. But for the sake of all things, I'm basically going to have two different types of Pokemon for my collection purposes. I'm going to have the Pokemon that are super cool, super rare, and are completely legitimate, but we are also going to have the Hackmon, and I'm going to keep them all very separate and basically self-contained. These are cool Mon I could take to tournament. I could have fun with. And I could show these to anybody and be super proud. Not to say I can't be proud of the Hackmon, but let's be real, it's a totally different scenario. So, what we're going to do today is, on our path to get the Gen 3 Mon into Scarlet and Violet, we're going to get our Gen 4 Mon, these Gamestop originals, for lack of a better way to put it, over to Black and White, then for Black and White over to Poké Transporter up to Bank, and then to Pomemon Home. Sounds very complicated, but believe me, it's really not that bad. Yes, it is a lot of work, but I think it's totally worth it. So let's go ahead and jump in. Now, first things first, I need to make sure this console is actually powered off. And to do this process, we're actually going to power it back on here. Sorry, my screen's a little smudgy there, guys. I'm sorry, I apologize. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to go out here and we're going to go to Route 115. Okay? Now, I just happen to be in the right city to do that. And so we're going to go over here to... Why am I not riding the bike? It'll make life so much easier. We're going to go over here to Route 115. Okay? Now, in Pokemon White, any Gen 5 game... I'm sorry, I said Route 115. Route 15, my apologies. If we go over here to this building, you can actually... Come on. Forget that noise. There we go. You can actually transfer Pokemon from the older games in this facility right here. And that's kind of why we have all of our Pokemon set up in this capacity. So I'm going to go up here and talk to the professor. Here we go. You need a system to play a Pokemon Transporter. Yes, we have one. And we will just kind of enter our staging area here. Yes. So we're going to save the game. And this is essentially what we're going to do over and over and over again when we transfer up the Gen 3 Mon, because we're going to kind of have to do that like a little bit at a time, as you'll see. So, we're going to step up, and this will begin the transfer process. Now, if you've never done this before, I love the fact that he's essentially a doctor. So, DS download and play. So, we're going to go ahead and go over here. You'll see on the screen here it says DS download and play. So we'll go ahead and click that. Normally, there's some stuff you have to download. It takes a few minutes. I actually already did it earlier today. I brought over a couple Mon just to test the system out and make sure it works. But, bam. We can just select that. Yes. Should already be there, in fact. But it's apparently still going to download something. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Shouldn't take too long.
One eternity later.
And then it'll give us the opportunity to literally grab whatever Mon we want and pull them from Platinum into Pokemon White. Now, the one exception here is while I do have the Japanese version of Sapphire, the GBA games are region free, so pulling them over from other regions really doesn't matter one bit. And if it did, we already know how to get, since it is region free, we know how to get GBA games onto, like, you know, from a Japanese cartridge to an English cartridge. It's really not that hard. The biggest downside of this whole process, Game Boy games do not fit in the slot. So unfortunately, we can't just directly transfer these. I wish it were that easy, but we'll cover all that in its own video. That one is going to take a lot of time. Please choose 6 Mon to transfer. So I don't believe we can do this, and I will actually need the stylus here for this. I don't believe we can transfer less than 6 Mon, which is weird. And that's where this is going to become a problem, because 6 Mon at a time, a whole dex is going to be a nightmare. But we'll kind of cover that. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer these guys. Oh, he should know an HM. Well, allow us to go correct that. So at some point in time, this mon was taught an HM, so we have to get rid of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the move deleter and Cantilever City, and just by going in here, just talk to this guy and he can remove the HMs. It's pretty easy. Which HM does he have? Oh, he has strength. There we go. We'll get rid of strength. We will need to go put him back in the box. He has to be in the box to transfer. So we'll go ahead and just transfer him back over to the box. So I do have a bunch of mon in general that I would like to move. Obviously, I've got the other legendaries here, but there's more legendary hunting to do in here. So for now, I'm just going to move these mon. All right. Game saved. And then we can just kind of power it off and power it back on. So once we power it back on, we can go back over here and we can actually initiate the transfer now. Now we're back in our box and we just have to choose our 6 mons. So I will pull over the legendaries. And I'll pull over these guys. Now, I do already have most of these in Scarlet and Violet. So these are probably just going to sit in home and just be collection mon. Jirachi's the only one here that's not shiny, that's special. I don't believe he was actually attainable in this game, so it would have been like an event exclusive. So let's go ahead and transfer them over. Yeah. And it says that held items will be put back in the bag. That's fine. You can't transfer them with held items. Now, there's this annoying little mini game, and it's not necessary. It's just kind of weird. I don't know what this is all about. I am awful at this thing. Just truly awful. Dude, come on, you're supposed to... There we go. They're supposed to jump when you hit the thing. Okay, they're asleep now. I don't know what that's supposed to do for me, aside from the fact that if they're out in the open, they can get caught. But, it's really weird. Earlier when I was playing this, they just kind of jump around and hop around and do whatever.
2 very boring minutes later.
I don't know what's up with the minigame. It really doesn't make any difference at all. So it cannot be returned once they're transferred. We know that. They're just gone for platinum. And they will be over in Gen 5.
You serious?
Would you like to use Poké Transfer again? Nope, we are good. And obviously, if we said yes, we could then transfer over all the Mon. That'll be that. I will cover later on how to do Gen 3, so don't get too impatient on that. Like I said, this is like step 1.5. But now over here, we can just cut off the power on this. We're done with this system for now. Okay, and we'll go to Move Mon. And we should have... there's some of them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and empty box 1 real quick. Okay, so here we are at attempt number 2. We'll have to see how this works out because I don't know why those 3 mon didn't transfer over. I didn't catch them in the mini game. I really don't know. But maybe I didn't catch them in the mini game. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the mini game's that important. But let's go over here one more time. We'll grab Raikou, Jirachi, and Azelf. And you know what? We can grab them too while we're at it. And finally, we'll just grab one other random. Kricketune doesn't matter. I don't know if you can do it with less, but it is what it is. All right, so I'm going to do this with a little more exuberance this time. All right, so I'm guessing you have to catch them on with this, which is weird. I don't know why they did this little mini game. It's kind of ridiculous. But nevertheless, we got them all. Okay. That must be what it is. I just didn't catch them with the mini game. So yeah, take the mini game seriously, apparently. I don't think I caught them all the first time, and all 6 transferred over, so who knows? Maybe that's a way you can not transfer all 6. You just select 6 and then only catch the ones you want. Weird. But it is what it is. Pokemon quirks, am I right? So, attempt number 3. Would you like to use Poké Transfer again? No. We will go into here. I don't know why I said attempt number 3 because it's attempt number 2. All right, we can turn off power. And we will once again go back and check out our stuff in the PC. In fact, I think, can we do it right here? Yeah. We just do it right here. We don't have to go all the way back to the Poké Center. So let's go to Move Pokemon, and look at that. I can move this whole box now, and it's got all of the legendaries up to and including Latios and Latias, which, by the way, guys, all of these were legitimately caught. None of these were genned. I want to emphasize that one more time because we have talked a lot about genning. These are all legitimate, and we should still have all our metadata on these Pokemon. So, had a Faithful Encounter at a special place. I don't know if you call it Gamestop special, but it is what it is. Try taking it to Lost Thorn Forest. Strong Build. Nice. Let's see. Yep. Encountered in Johto. Funny enough, I think... Oh, it says Faithful Encounter in Johto, so I think he was transferred from another game anyway. So, there you go. They're all here. Now, the next step... Go back out here. I'm a big fan of just panic saving, because, I mean, who wants to lose all this work? So let's go ahead and do one more save. Not that it's necessary, but that's how I roll. Now, at this point, we're kind of done with this system, so we can kind of cut this off for now. Now, for those of you guys that watched my video on how to get Shiny Mew out of Gen 1, you've already seen this process. A lot of people probably already done this, but we're going to cover it again just one more time. So, I've got 2 titles. I've got Pokemon Red. Obviously, because I already did that. I've got White, so we use this game. Alright, so at this point we could only move the entire box. That's why I cleared everything else out of here. We are going to move this entire box into Pokemon Bank. So let's do it. Pretty straightforward stuff. You get the basic idea. Notice it said it's in the bank's transporter spot. We're going to go over here to Pokemon Bank. And there's a separate bin just for Pokemon Bank transporters. We're going to use Pokemon Bank. Yeah, we'll use Omega Ruby. It doesn't matter. If I had Sun and Moon in here, it'd read that one too. But oh, I have Mon still sitting in the bank? Okay, well, that's the thing. Now I've got all of these Mon. So I can go ahead and... So we'll go ahead and select all. And put them in the bank for transfer. This is where things are going to get interesting. So we need to go boot up Pomemon Home on our Switch, and I'll be right back with that. So for this part of the process, we are going to go down here in Pokemon Home, and we are going to go ahead and transfer to from Pokemon Bank. Now, you do have to have a paid copy at home to do this, but it's like $3 a month. Personal opinion, I think it's worth, but that is me. Now, it's going to give me a code. I will be blanking out this code on my screen because even though it'd be useless, like obviously all this is going to be done long beforehand, you still don't need the code. So, movie key is available only for a few minutes, so I'm going to switch over here to my 3DS. Over here, we're going to select Move to Pokemon Home. Let's go ahead and get our code. Yep, display our moving key. All right, so we just want to select the bin that we're going to transfer over. We'll hit OK on that. Once you have the code input, just hit OK. Movie key has been entered in Pokemon Bank successfully. Move preparations will begin. So, everything's just going to kind of move at a snail's pace here for a moment, and then it'll come back and it'll have all of our fresh new Mon. So it says here 11 new Pokemon have been moved, so let's go ahead and check them out. So here in Home 5, I have all of my Pokemon I just transferred. So let's see if we can see their stats. And there is our Suicune, seems to have had a fateful encounter in the Johto region. Same with Entei. There's Mesprit. Mesprit is not shiny. And there is Raikou. So, yeah. There they all are. Plain as day. Now, Jirachi, Mesprit, and Azelf are not shiny. They were never shiny from the event. My understanding, and I don't remember exactly, but I think Jirachi was the one you just couldn't acquire otherwise. But the other three are just from that game. They are what they are. They're not overly special, but since they were transferred from Johto, then, you know, obviously they are going to be fairly collectible. But shiny legendary beasts. Good stuff, that. Now, obviously, I can just transfer these guys over to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to throw them into box 32 here. Okay, and we are in Scarlet and Violet. Let's check this out here. So I'm going to go to my boxes, and I'm going to go ahead and transfer off pretty much all of my Mon real quick. Let's just go to an empty box. 30 should be empty. There we go. These should all look pretty familiar. And let's go grab our legendary... Ooh. Legendary dogs. Some people say they're cats. I wholeheartedly disagree with that, but it is what it is. We'll put Entei in the front for no other reason than it's Entei. Alright, and it was convenient. Bam! We have a shiny Entei all the way from... Ooh, we don't want to change position. We want to look at the summary. See what it says here. So I gave him a fire Terra type, which makes all the sense of the world. He is fairly low level. I haven't leveled him up at all. He is in a Cherish Ball there. Pokemon is pretty adamant by nature and seems to have traveled across space and time from the Johto region. So I think these were originally intended for HGSS. And I just happen to have him in Platinum. So, good times that. Let's see. I think we can get a ribbon for him. Yeah, there we go. Bam. We can get a ribbon. Nice. Nice. Can we give that ribbon to everyone? Let's grab Suicune. Nice. Look at that. So, these actually will probably be permanent on these Mon. So, good times that. So, there you guys go. That is how to get your, in this case, Johto region Pokemon, although we will cover Gen 2 here coming up real soon. But that is how to get Pokemon from Gen 4, in essence, into Gen 9. Obviously, Gen 5 was kind of the same thing. Gen 6, you just go straight through Pokemon Bank. All of that is pretty straightforward. We are going to cover those in a later date. However, coming up next will be Gen 3. After we master Gen 3, I'm going to show you guys how to work backwards and do Gen 2 and Gen 1 coming up real soon. A lot of people in the comments are going to say it's impossible, but I promise you, we have a way to do it, and it's going to be a ton of fun. So hope to see you guys there for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be back real soon with those other upcoming parts of this project.